Holy nostalgia.
On today's episode, I'm joined by longtime friends Jeremy Madson and Billy D'Elia to put Metallica's 1991 release, The Black Album, to the ultimate test, the nostalgia test. I'm your truth telling lies. I'm your reasoned alibis. I'm inside. Open your eyes. I'm you. Wow.
I was not
That was
prepared for
horrible.
that, but I
I was
guess
not either.
those music rights could get a little pricey.
No one's paying attention. Jeremy, welcome everyone to the
Fair
Nostalgia
use.
Test podcast. I'm your host, Dan Dissinger here in LA. And today, well, look at here. I am joined by two longtime friends, Jeremy Madson, Billy D'Elia. Manny's absent from this episode. I mean, he's missing a good one. I'm sure he won't mind since he's not the biggest Metallica fan at all. But we are here putting the 1991 album, The Black Album by Metallica, to the ultimate test. And boy, oh boy, this is going to be a good one because, I mean, all three of us, huge Metallica fans. So this is going to be one of them, like a good one. So everyone settle in and get ready to hang out.
Well, I actually have a question about that before we get
Go
into
ahead.
it. There you go.
goes
There you go,
Billy.
Bobo.
I needed something.
Always changing the
So-
background.
We're all roughly the same age. We were probably about 8, 9 years old, 9 years old when the album came out in fourth
Mhm.
grade. But at least for me, I think really the entry point to Metallica I was aware of Metallica at that point, maybe even aware of, Injustice for All when the one video came out on MTV. But it was really the load reload era, and then working backwards is how it really came to the Black Album. What about you guys?
I remember in fifth grade, I used to always watch. Remember when they used to have the MTV Top 20 video countdown,
Mhm.
and the Enter Sandman video? I remember I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck is this? This is crazy!" And that was the intro, so
Yeah.
that was kind of the first exposure, and then it was for a couple more years until I kind of really dove in head first. But that was like the first exposure, so probably shortly after it came out. Like fifth grade was what, like 93, so
Mhm.
like that was still in heavy rotation at that point. So
Yeah. I would
Gotcha.
say like my introduction into Metallica goes to like when I was hanging out with Jay Martinez
Mhm.
in the Wilson Park. He's a huge metal fan, and a huge Metallica fan. Dream Theater, like he
Yeah.
was introducing me to all these bands, and I remember buying Master Puppets on cassette. That was
Nice.
like
There
one
you
of the
go.
first Metallica albums I bought, and then I think after that was the Black Album. And so it was those two on cassette, and I just listened to them over and over again. At the time, definitely Master Puppets, like a lot. And at the same time, it was funny. I bought those two albums, or I think just Master Puppets and the Primus album, Tales from the Punch Bowl.
Oh God, Primate.
So-
All right,
So
mixing it
jeez.
up.
yeah, yeah. So
Bill and
definitely
I
like
saw-
Master.
Bill and I saw Primus together 5 years ago on
Yeah, we
the
saw them,
Slayer farewell tour before they
The
decided
Slayer
on farewell.
final campaign.
Oh yeah, and they're coming back now.
Yeah, I saw that.
So good thing I took
we
the trip.
gotta have an episode about farewell like concerts and farewell
Oh, God,
tours. Because
Everyone's done it.
Black Sabbath tricked us all back in
Ozzy,
2000
no
whatever.
more tours, and
Yeah.
we put out No More Tears. Everyone is until they can capitalize on it.
Yeah,
So it was
Okay.
convenient that Kerry King put out his album and then Slayer's touring again. I'm like,
Yeah.
that seems convenient.
yeah. It's just come on, are we really doing this? And I mean, at least Metallica never did that.
So
No,
Metallica
exactly.
Black Album, obviously big Metallica. They've been one of my favorite bands, but
Mhm.
something I love probably more than any of that is trivia, and one of my favorite pieces of trivia about that. When I think of 1991, that's probably one of the first things that come to mind that actually happened that year. The Minnesota Twins won the World Series. That much I could tell you. But it was Metallica's Black Album, Nirvana's Nevermind, Pearl Jam's 10, Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion, Chili Peppers' Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, maybe
Wow.
one or two others. They were all released.
There
in,
was
like,
Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger too.
That's right.
It was a crazy year. It was a
Arise.
crazy
those-
year for music.
Sepultura
Once-
put out Arise.
Yep,
At,
it's a crazy
1991.
year for heavy music, dude.
the ones that I mentioned, I was just within a 6-week period. It was from, I think, Black Album was one of the first in August, and that was like just within a month and a half, all those albums came out.
Oh my
It's
god!
insane, dude.
Wow. Contradictions Collapse by Meshuggah came out in 91.
Yep. I mean,
Okay.
the crazy thing is like heavy music was still popular then, you
Right.
know? And that's this whole album, like, you know, obviously we're going to dig into this, but it's like, this was kind of, you know, heavy music was popular, you know, the weirdest thing is like hair metal, you know, everyone, you know, obviously likes to shit on hair metal, but at the time, like, that's what pop music was, like, part of, you know, pop music was much more eclectic than it is nowadays, right? Like, hair metal was like very popular, and then you said the other 80s music, but that was super popular, and then there was like the darker undercurrent where you had like thrash movement of the 80s with Metallica and all the other guys, you know? So it's kind of like interesting, and then it's like with this, Metallica was like, all right, like, we're popular, and it seems like they made a conscious decision, mostly Lars, right? Like, we're going to be
we'll get into
the biggest fucking band in the world. So it's kind of like, and this is that album that kind of put the stamp, like, people that don't listen to metal, like, this is, everyone fucking knows who Metallica is because of this album. Like, this was that
beginning
gigantic shift in what they were and what they were after. This is like, you know, AD, BC, like, this is like their moment, like, for the band, you know?
I mean, it debuted apparently. I mean, according to the Wikipedia, this the Black Album debuted at #1 in 10 countries, spent 4 consecutive weeks at the top of the Billboard 200, making it Metallica's first album to top the album charts. With over 30 million copies sold worldwide, Metallica is one of the best-selling. The Black Album is one of the best-selling albums worldwide, and also is one of the best-selling albums in the United States. I mean, that's crazy.
It's crazy. It's nuts for a metal band. Like,
that's the thing.
Like, think of today, like, this, no band, no metal, no heavy band will ever be this big ever again after they're gone.
It had to be the peak of heavy music of metal. The hair bands were kind of the gateway, and then they said, well, we can do this better. Let's do it. They got themselves basically a hair metal producer in Bob Rock, right?
Yeah.
And then they, you know, it's a good sounding album. You can say what you will about later albums and previous albums, but you know, the kind of the musicianship and the production maybe were at the same level, and it really catapulted them to being, I think, what I call them now, the IKEA of heavy metal, because they're basically, you know, a multinational branding corporation that runs the Metallica operation. But you know what? They got it running like a well-oiled machine now. Not so much 91.
That's the thing, man. To your point, because this is something I was listening to the album. I was like, all right, I kind of, the way I did this, I took notes on each song, and then I was like high-level notes. And I think the first thing here is like, you know, people could shit on Bob Rock for all they want. The production on this album is fucking amazing. Like,
unreal.
It's absurd. There's this symphonic death metal band I listen to called Winter Sun, where the guy's a crazy audiophile where I can't put this album out yet because the technology doesn't exist. And that guy's the best sounding album ever created is the Metallica Black Album. You know, when you watch the Year and a Half in Life of Metallica, where we put up fucking big, you know, foam bricks so we didn't hear Jason's pick. The attention to detail on the production, I can appreciate and respect that. And that shit is crazy. And you listen to this, and it's big, it's fat, it smashes you in the face. Is it thrash metal? No. You know, we'll talk about that more later. But like the big, like, full sound, dude, you crank this shit up in the car. You're at an arena, they play Sandman. That shit hits you in the chest. So like the production, you know, Bob Rock, you can, you know, whether he's good or bad for the band, their direction, like, that's something I'm sure we'll get into. But from a production perspective, like, this is one of the best sounding albums ever. It's fucking awesome from a sound perspective.
You're absolutely right about thrash, but there are bits of it buried in there, and it's like they were trying to breathe them out. But you hear them, if you hear the you know, intro to, what's the last track? Struggle Within, something that's just, you know, little, you know,
Through the Never, the beginning of that. Yep.
Yeah.
There's thrash parts in there. They couldn't get it all out.
Oh, that could be a leftover from Justice, but
some of it probably
not a whole lot that you can say that about.
You know, what's weird is I'm looking now that Bob Rock, that's the one thing I will say. I'm going to make a really, really weird comparison between two bands, Metallica and another band, because of the production quality of this album was so clean and just so amazing. And this is going to sound weird, and Billy, you're probably going to be like, yo, fuck you. But the Black Album is so well produced that it reminded me of how well produced Before These Crowded Streets by Dave Matthews Band is.
I knew you were going
Those two albums are some of the most
I've heard that reference
I've ever heard.
All right. In fairness,
they're gorgeous.
That if I was forced on my life at gunpoint to pick a favorite Dave Matthews Band album, I would say that one, probably because it was the only one I ever heard of, but I don't remember it sounding terrible. The terrible music on that album was very well recorded, Dan. Yes.
It was,
but also think about the juxtaposition.
Yeah, go
Think
ahead.
about the juxtaposition from like Justice, which is like
Horrible.
Justice is a fucking amazing album, but the
Yeah.
production on that is like a tin can.
Yeah.
Because, you know, hey, fuck you, Jason, let's turn the bass all the way down. Like this is like big, fat, fucking in your face. And then you combine that with like where they said in that year and a half thing where like, hey, we wanted to kind of take a step back and make it less complex. And this is still metal to me. You know, later years they veered into hard rock with Load.
Yeah.
This is metal, but it's more like AC/DC, like that kind of bash you over the head, 2/4 time, but just fat as fuck. And like when you kind of lean into that from a production perspective, it hits even harder. Like Sad But True, man, that shit hits you right in the chest, right?
Sad
like,
But True was so good. But what's weird is, and I was looking too, like Bob Rock also produced Saint Anger, and that album was trash.
So weird. Yeah, because you could say the production on Load and Reload, production's still good on those, but Saint Anger, it's garbage. Yeah, that was just a weird time for the band. That's you know.
That was their audition for the Lou Reed album, I think.
I did like how in Year and a Half they bust Bob Rock's balls all the time. What he used to do. Like, do you remember like it's such a classic like early '90s thing where they're like have all the porn mags and they're like they take the Playgirl and they're like, hey Bob, is this what you looked when you had when you were recording Slippery When Wet with Bon Jovi? Like it's classic like early '90s crap, and they're just breaking his balls the whole time.
It's so funny. Like it's fun. I haven't listened to the Black Album in a long time. This would not be like a go-to Metallica album for me. Like definitely for me, it's Master Puppets. Like I love Master Puppets, and that's produced pretty well too. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
You have
Fleming Rasmussen killing it.
Yeah, and and
I think they co-produced on that one too, Bubba.
What I like about this album is that Bob Rock was able to, like, in a way, advocate for the bass guitar, because you needed that, especially if you're going to go in this direction.
You need that low end.
A stock line that people like say, oh, they buried the bass on Master Puppets. And whenever I hear someone say that, not that I ever actually talk to people in real life anymore, but if I do, I wanna ask them, oh yeah, tell me one bass line you remember from the first four Metallica albums. The three Metallica albums that wasn't the bass solo.
Exactly. No. That wasn't just that wasn't
maybe like the intro for Bells, like maybe, you know, but maybe. Like this, like it's the bass is forward here, man. There's so many songs. My Friend in Misery kicks off with a bass lick, you know. You hear it in a bunch of stuff. And you're spot on with that, man. That's Bob advocating for that. And I also think another thing I give him credit for is I would argue that these, not the most technical, but these are the Kirk solos that fit the songs best. And you even see that like in the documentary. You know, I feel like the last couple albums, Kirk feels like he comes in, plays some bullshit on the guitar and walks off. He's got some badass solos like on the first couple, and you even see in the documentary where they're kind of like, I think it's the Unforgiven solo he's doing, and he's trying to just shred on it, and they're like, no dude, that doesn't fit with the song. And they busted his balls about it and made him think. And dude, these solos to me are like imprinted on my brain. Like when I listen to this song, like I can sing the solo like note for note. You know, even songs that I don't love on this album, like Nothing Else Matters, like that solo is still badass because Kirk, like once again, and it's not like a shred fest, like I'm gonna kick ass. It's like what is gonna accentuate and fit in with the song. And you saw in that video, like that was coming from Rock. So I gotta give him credit for that too, because I feel like he kind of pushed Kirk to like make really badass solos, like memorable solos on this album.
It's interesting because in a way, it's kind of like, well, they are songs, right? So, Dan, you said you didn't revisit the Black Album all that much. I haven't either, but like Bill said, it's seared in my brain. The album I have probably revisited most of the last 20 years easily of Metallica is Justice, which is the one that's usually, you know, kind of used to compare it to highlight the differences, really. And still at that point, you know, they're pushing themselves to the limit of what they were capable of.
Oh, yeah. That's like progressive metal almost.
And everything is, it's, I guess, in terms of not being songs, it's driven by the riffs, and you can't hear the bass, and the percussion is there, so mostly seems to offset, accentuate the riffs, and just how, you know, technical extreme everything is. Obviously not the case with Black. You know, it's a much more traditional song structure, but as Bill said, kicks you in the balls.
Yeah,
and Jason even mentions that in the documentary where he says, "Oh, we actually have a rhythm section. This band never knew how to do that." Like,
and that's the thing. I think what's interesting with going into this episode, I was just like, I get the appreciation for the Black Album because I had been away from it for so long because I loved it, and then I was just like, I think what happens is this: you get introduced to like metal, maybe through the Black Album, if that's your entry point, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, what about these albums before that? And you're listening to Master Puppets, you're listening to Ride the Lightning and things like that. And you're like, oh my God, like what the hell? It's so different. It's so amazing. And then you get
Yeah.
introduced to Slayer, Pantera, and then you go down the line until you scare
Yep.
yourself half to death and then you stop for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Or completely to death, and then you go to the other side and see what real metal's about.
yeah. Yeah. But then coming back to the Black Album, you're just like, these are well developed songs and you have to give credit to Bob Rock, even though a lot of people don't want to probably because they probably feel like he ruined the direction of the band in some ways.
Mhm.
But also, James Hetfield has never sounded better on an album. His vocals were these were the best vocals that he's ever had. It sounded great. They actually worked on things. And I think that's the thing. Like he knew how to mix the album, how to cut the album, how to do
Yep.
these certain things to make it what
Push
they
back
wanted.
in Lars.
Yeah, and well, there should be a
Yeah.
whole 10 episode
Oh my
document discussion on Lars Ulrich. He's
I want to make a point on what you said about this being the gateway. It's almost like this is the marijuana. You know, the Black Album's like marijuana, and then you're like, wow, let's get into some coke, and you're doing. Oh, and next thing you know, you're fucking freebasing Cannibal Corpse. Like, it's
Right.
this is like the entry. Like so many. I guarantee you, if you asked like metal bands that have come out like in the last 20 years, like what got you into metal, I guarantee you many of them would be like, oh, it was the Black Album, you know, because it's like it's accessible and like, you know, you can say that's bad. And I get the argument. Like, look, like if I was, because I've been here with other bands that I've got into, if I was with Metallica since '82, all in this band, and this came out, and I'd be like, fuck this. And I get it. Totally get it. I think I read Dave Lombardo from Slayer. So the first time he listened to it, he threw out to pull out a CD player and threw it down the stairs. I could see that. And I get it, you know? But for us or people
He's in
younger
Slayer,
than
you have to
us,
say that.
like oh yeah, the drummer from Slayer, Dave Lombardo, I should say that. But like it literally was like so many people's entry to metal. And you could say that like this kind of made metal even bigger, you know, like not from a popularity wise, but opened the aperture for so many people that may not have been into metal otherwise, you know? So
Well,
yeah.
This is what I say. That's exactly right. I mean, this is what I say is difficult, you know, in all the hundreds of times I've appeared on this podcast. The trouble with the nostalgia test for something that happened when you were, you know, at such an impressionable age is it's impossible to separate it from the circumstances of your life at the time. This is the opposite. This has been completely mainstreamed and absorbed. And the way you know that is, all right, you know, the apotheosis of pop culture for popular music is becoming, you know, a worldwide sports anthem that people recognize even when they don't know what it is. Enter Sandman is that. It's in, you know, rarefied air with your Seven Nation Army or, you know.
Welcome to the Jungle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? You ever see, I think it's Virginia or Virginia Tech football where they play at the beginning of every game and everyone in the stands are jumping up and down and it's 80,000 people jumping up and down. Like, you can't not get fired up to that.
I'm proud
like,
to say that I live in
impossible.
Virginia and I actually have no idea, but sure.
You're in Northern Virginia. It's a different beast.
Yeah, you're right. Only 51% of the people here went to those schools.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's kind of transcended. Like, it's a pop culture thing, right? It's kind of crazy.
I mean, they actually won a Grammy for this. And I do remember that. Actually, I have vivid memories of watching that performance. For some reason, I remember seeing that performance, like watching Metallica play Enter Sandman on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, why do I remember this? But I, for some reason,
imprinted on your brain.
Yeah.
I did love in the speech where they had in the documentary with, we'd like to thank Jethro Tull for not putting out an album this year. I was like, oh, that's funny.
I was about to ask if that was the year they lost to Jethro Tull.
No, that was with one they lost to Jethro Tull.
Which is
the
Grammys are a joke, so.
Yeah.
Oh, you noticed?
Yeah. Then you'll be Goldberg making a joke like, don't you remember the Fillmores? It's like, it's still there. It was still there, exactly. I think, at that time, I think. But I can say the same thing for venues I used to go to and being like, oh, remember I went to go see Lamb of God at Irving Plaza. You know,
yeah.
Like,
still there. Roseland, not so much.
No, yeah. Well, we saw Oasis at Roseland, which was a great show.
That was a memorable episode for a number of reasons.
Yeah. But I think what's funny is thinking about Metallica and how Metallica has been able to transcend into like mainstream pop culture, become like this gigantic band past, you know, transcending metal in very different ways and doing like a crossover, like a lot of artists. But but really never a metal group. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't think any other metal group has ever really done what they've been able to do.
No,
And
man. Like people have tried and no. If you listen to Kill 'Em All and if you're like, hey, this band will someday be like the biggest rock band in the world, people like, get the fuck out of here, bro. No way. Like, like
yeah,
it's yeah. And I can't think of any other band like I feel like Anthrax tried to do it a little bit in the same era, right? And you had, they did the whole thing with Public Enemy and tried to go a little more mainstream. And you even had, Megadeth tried it kind of at some point too, where they tried to go a little more,
yeah, but you
but
can't.
they were just exactly it doesn't work, And I think part of it, as much as I can't stand him, Lars is driving this movement, right? It's a sound business decision. The guy's still an asshole.
Business people tend to be
Yeah, but
successful.
he has been the person driving the business side of this band from day
Just
one.
be glad
His
it
musical
wasn't.
ability is not driving it,
Just
but
be
No.
glad
his decision is.
it wasn't Iron Maiden, because if they did it, they would be the Megalocalypse, the dominating cultural force in the entire world. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, they would,
yeah,
because
they
they're like
would.
Spinal Tap, bro.
Oh man, I know.
I don't understand how Final Tap. How do you parody heavy metal? You can't do anything
Yeah.
that satirizes it by being more ridiculous.
No,
And that's what I love
Exactly.
it's
about it.
already ridiculous, and that's the funny thing. Like,
Especially Maiden.
oh yeah, yeah,
In the best
well,
possible way.
but that's what's funny. What's interesting to me is that a band like Metallica has been able to do that. Where like Iron Maiden, I feel like their songs are really accessible because you
Yeah.
got a singer, not a
Soaring
screamer.
singing. Yeah,
You
exactly.
got, and the songs are, they're not in drop D. They're in a key that's like more uplifting key,
Yep.
and the sonic aspect of it is really great. It's really interesting to think because Billy, when you and I saw Iron Maiden the few times when we went a few times, I was so surprised how sparse the crowd was in the
Yeah.
U.S. It was just like, how is this possible? Like, I
It's
don't
kind of
understand this.
crazy. And you know what? Now that you mentioned them, another one I think who kind of did transcend outside of metal a little in the 80s was Priest, because I think, there are some Priest songs like people may not know it's a Priest song, but if you say
Yeah,
Breaking the Law or like You Got Another Thing Coming, like people know those,
yeah,
but it wasn't like at the same level because also when you look at the kind of bands that Priest or Maiden are, it wasn't like as inaccessible as early Metallica is. Like you listen to Kill 'Em all the way up through, I'd even say, like, honestly, the first three albums, there's nothing accessible at any of that. That is like
no,
hardcore thrash. Like, you got to
yeah.
be like, so that's, when even if you listen to early Priest, which kind of almost sounds like Sabbath, right? Like that's more accessible to the masses than like where Metallica was coming from. So it's kind of crazy. And that's where the shift was more dramatic from a fan perspective,
Especially
right?
because the
Yeah.
fourth album was even less accessible than the first three.
They're like, oh, let's make this sound like shit and be hyper progressive with crazy time changes. It's going to be like 16/8 time. And it's like, what the hell is that? I've never heard of it?
I
But
think
like,
if yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Go
it's
ahead, Billy.
crazy. No, I was going to
Yeah.
say it's kind of like, and then it's almost, it's definitely a conscious decision was made. Like, we're going to simplify. And I'm sure
Uh-huh.
like in that documentary, they don't necessarily say, hey, we want to become more popular, but it's clear that that was like Lars's goal, right? Let's put more money in our pockets. Like you can say, we want to
Yeah,
slow it down. We want to simplify. We want to change it up, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
But that has to be what was behind it. There's
Mhm.
no freaking way. Like, why would you change otherwise?
I don't.
They were
Yeah.
28 or something like that, right?
They were
Like,
they were touring on the anniversaries of some of their earlier albums. Did they do a 25th for Justice? They're just like, nah, too much arthritis. We don't want to die.
I
I
don't know
don't
if they
think
did. They did
Lars could do it.
I don't think they'll do the couple songs. They play Blacken every now and then, which is one of my favorite fucking Metallica
Mm.
songs. But he
They
plays
play
it
one,
shittily. He
obviously.
plays it shittily. One they still play. I mean, one is a great song. That's and that was the first time where people are like, hey, they're selling out. This is a ballad. No, I mean,
Yeah,
I
which
think
is
people said that about.
I don't think
People
those
said
people
that
saw the
about
video
people.
or listened to
But
the
that's
lyrics.
what they made a video. They sold out. They made a video. It's a ballad. But even go
yeah.
further back with Fade to Black, people are like they sold out. So it's Metallica always had that kind of dynamic a little every time after Kill 'Em All, where I feel like they were trying to push the boundaries of what's
Yeah.
possible, what is metal. But to me, the biggest difference with this is that stuff still had thrash elements. There's few and far between thrash elements here. To Jeremy's point, there's some bits and pieces of songs where, wow, that could be like a thrash riff.
Yeah.
For the Never, some of these other, but for the majority of this, it is a different kind of metal
It's
than
an
the first
arena
four
rock
albums are.
album. It's an
Well,
arena
Exactly.
rock
The heavy
album.
arena rock album. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, I
It's
feel
more
like
in the
if
vein of
Cliff,
AC/DC.
yeah, I feel like if Cliff Burton was still alive, he would have fought Lars on this. He would have
Oh
been
yeah,
like, where am I going to have my 12-minute song? Like, where am I going to
yeah.
have my instrumental?
Crazy aggressive shit. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I mean, and he was a genius. I mean,
Oh God,
rest in
dude, he was the
peace.
only one with
Like,
any musical theory, right? Like,
no one.
I'm traveling to Sweden and Denmark this summer in a few weeks, and don't think I didn't think about making a pilgrimage to, the shrine of
do they have something on the side of the road where he passed? I would imagine they do, right?
I mean, it would be a missed opportunity. Those people love this music up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Those
Jeez,
people.
man.
those people.
You know, I thought it was crazy to me when I was watching that documentary because we were talking about how people shit on Bob Rock again. I don't know if
Yeah.
did you guys watch the year and a half thing or no?
I watched
I
almost
think I watched
basically the
it
whole thing.
years ago, but I didn't have a chance this week.
But at one point, Bob Rock, I don't know if you remember this, Pico, he wants to make the lead single Holier Than Thou. And I was like, oh
Yes.
shit, Bob. Wow. Little credit there, bro. Because that's actually one of the songs that's more thrashy.
That
And think
yeah.
It's a good
about
song.
that's the lead single. It almost would change the perception of this.
if
You know?
if they led with Holier Than Thou, I think it would have been a harder uphill to where they got to. They would have gotten there because the next single would have been Enter Sandman. But if they led with Holier Than Thou, that would have been like you. I was like, whoa, like that would have been a great opening single. But
Yeah.
Lars is probably, or they were like, no, like we're not doing that. Enter
Nope.
Sandman is the opening single.
Clearly, I even saw like remember when Metallica tried to do their own festival for a couple of years where it was like the Orion Festival. Me and Tony went and saw it in Atlantic City, and it sucks because they
Friend
did
of the
2 nights. The
podcast, Tony.
first, yeah, first night I had a wedding, and the first night they played Ride Lightning its entirety. Second night they played Black in its entirety, but I thought it was cool they played it backwards, and I was like, shit, dude, if this album was backwards, it almost starts strong, and then because I don't know about you, but I love the back half of that album. Like when you're talking about like God That Failed, My Friend in Misery. The fuck's the name of the last one with the fucking
Struggle Within.
Struggle Within.
Yeah.
Those songs are more like, I feel like if those had been the front of the album, people would have been like, all right, this is still kind of like a little more thrashier than Sandman is much more, like you said, arena rock. So
it's funny because Jason Newsted has, let's see, one writing credit, and it's on My Friend of Misery.
That's a good song, man. With the bass
the
line at the
music.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
It's a
everything
good
else is just, everyone else. But like, what's interesting is like looking at the track list. I mean, they stacked everything that they wanted to make. They wanted to make a statement of who they were becoming right away. They were like, Enter Sandman, Sad But True, Holier Than Thou, Unforgiven, Wherever I May Roam, Don't Tread on Me. Like that. I mean, they peppered in like Through the Never, but then they hit you with Nothing Else Matters. I feel like if they wanted, they probably would have stopped the album there. But I feel like, because of Wolf and Man, it's a good song. But and the back of the track or the other side of which would be the other side of the tape, pretty much in a way, or the other side of the vinyl, it's a totally different album. And I think a lot of people get exhausted from the first bunch of songs, and then the other ones don't sound
never even got to it. Yep.
Yeah, they don't really line up really. Production wise, they're fun. They are 100% the same. But I would say like energy wise and all of that stuff, it takes a totally different. All the songs become longer. Like everything becomes longer. So
I almost like them, and I like them more.
I think what you have.
I find myself listening to the deep cuts on this, right? Where I'm like, I love fucking like the back half of the album. I love fucking Don't Tread on Me, like the songs, and I mean. I don't know. Do we want to pivot? Should we go song by song and talk about it? Because I think there's a lot of ways we can go. Like, how do you want to jump into this?
That sounds like a good idea, but let me pose a question to you. First off, I think what we're nostalgic for is the album-oriented rock format, because do people even listen to albums anymore? Is that how they discuss it? But here's a little trivia for you guys. I've got the Spotify page
I like to because I'm old, but yes.
I got this. Yes, definitely. I got the Spotify page up of the album.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right.
So do I.
We can go ahead and throw out. Okay, then don't look at it. We can throw out Enter Sandman right away.
Okay, go ahead.
Minimize it. We can throw out Enter Sandman right away. That's got the most plays.
Okay.
1.396 million. What do you think is number 2? What do you think is number 3? What do you think has the least?
All right, number 2. I'm gonna go, and I'm sorry, Pico. I didn't mean to big foot you, but I'm gonna jump in because it just came to my head. Number 2, I'm gonna say Nothing Else Matters.
Correct.
Number 3, I'm gonna go Wherever I May Roam.
No, it's Unforgiven.
No, get Pico.
Oh, there he already said it. But that would have been my guess. It was going to be Unforgiven because I was going to say nothing. I was going to say Nothing Else Matters as number 2 as well.
Yeah.
And and Unforgiven next, because I think those are the two biggest.
And
Those
I
are
guess
the
Sad But
biggest
True is
songs.
next, but it surprises me how far down it is. Now, of course, this is the remastered version, so the original master could be a
Oh,
different
so yeah,
question.
it could be different.
I
All
mean,
right.
maybe I doubt it because I think those two songs. I think Nothing Else Matters and Unforgiven are the two other biggest songs on the album. I
I
mean,
would agree.
those.
And
I
then
mean,
after that, it's Sad But True and Wherever I May Roam, because those are all the singles off it, right? I think
Pretty
those
much.
are the
yeah,
five. Those are the five singles, right? So
All
I
right.
think so.
All right. And now here's the bonus question, which has the fewest listens, which is the
Struggle Within.
Pico.
Hmm. I'm gonna say A Wolf and Man.
Well, you should have said Struggle Within because he was right the first time, which
The
makes
last
sense.
song on the
It's the
album. The last
last
song on the album.
song. Controversy.
Wow. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I should have just went with my gut, meaning no one gets to the end of the album anyway.
It's true, especially back in the day when this came out, right?
Yeah, it's funny how like when watching the documentary, how everyone was so excited, and then the backlash afterwards. Like all these people were like, "Yeah," and then a few years later, everyone's like, "Fuck this album." It's
Yeah,
just
they're like showing Tower Records, people going nuts, and like people trying to wax all poetical about the lyrics, and they're saying shit that doesn't even make sense.
it
Like,
doesn't make sense.
yeah, which once again, this is what I think we texted about this. Where like James's lyrics were a lot darker before he stopped drinking, and even this, like for a
Yes.
song that's like very for an album that's very like pushing them to be like into the pop mainstream,
Yeah.
these lyrics are dark as fuck. Like,
Oh yeah. Nothing
you
Else
know, like
Matters is dark. That's a
yeah,
dark song. Like you listen to it, it's just he just repeats the same thing over and over again, and you're just like, this is just someone banging their head
I
against the
think he
wall,
means it.
being yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's really. I mean, it's. I guess it's so weird what happened. Like to me, like as a Metallica fan, it's just like it's not just like this album, but like I think a lot of times I think of this album as like the 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 fall from grace for me from this album. And I'm just like,
Hmm.
how did that happen?
Yeah.
Load and Reload are probably better than I imagine than I remember.
They are.
But
They are.
like,
I've listened to them. Me and Jeremy talk recently. Like they're
yeah,
they're. If you took the two of them combined, there's a solid album in there.
There are
Like,
some
but it's a
that's
hard rock album. It's not a metal album.
right.
that is another conversation. There are some
Yeah,
swings on there. I don't think I had probably listened to the Low Man's lyric since 1997,
yeah,
and I probably won't listen to it for another 25 years.
yeah. But let's not
Not
forget too. Like on the back of this album coming out, they went on a fucking 3 year straight tour. Like I think three of them got
Crazy.
divorced.
Yeah.
Lars went to rehab for blow. They fucking just went
Nuts.
insane.
Yeah.
It was like boom into the stratosphere. You know.
all
Yeah.
right. So Bill requested the blow by blow, track by track.
Let's
What do you? I mean, I
hot
think it makes
takes.
sense, right? Let's jump into
let's
it.
try
Right?
yeah, let's try to get through
All
every
right.
yeah, let's
Anybody
go.
remember what the first track of the
Oh, come on.
Metallica yeah, Enter Sandman. All right. Oh, I've heard this before.
There we go.
It's familiar.
That's about 7 seconds.
That's as
What
much
I
as
could
we
get
get,
away
huh?
with.
Well, it, right there, it makes you want to hear more. But speaking of James's lyrics and imagery, it's like, where did he come up with this? Who is thinking about it, the evil Sandman putting you to sleep and giving you nightmares? It's kind of
Clearly
dark, but the
James
same.
is.
It's cut. I'm sorry. Did you miss a calling as a children's book author?
I
Well, I don't
mean,
know if you read Neil Gaiman's Sandman, that's a little dark.
yeah,
So,
that is pretty
Do we
dark.
know? Did James read Sandman?
oh shit, that's a good point. I wonder if it came out before this.
I
Shit,
think let's see right
I think Game and
I-
Sandman actually did start
late '80s.
or 90. Yeah.
Yeah, that
By
shit
the
is
way,
awesome, man. They
he's
did the
also awesome
audio
if you've
book of it on Audible, where they did. It was like an old school radio acting of it. Highly recommend if you haven't listened to that yet. It's awesome.
I did just read his Anansi Boys, which was excellent.
That's a good book too.
Yeah.
I mean, this song in general. I mean,
It
I will say,
started
look,
in
this is-
1989.
Yeah.
Wow,
ran
so
for
he may have. Who
75
knows?
issues.
I'm interested to see if it influenced. That'd be interesting
Wow.
because these guys are into that kind of shit, right? So who knows?
Well,
Wow.
theoretically, they read Lovecraft, right?
I mean, Kirk is all into the horror shit, so who knows?
I mean, I like this
The Shadow
song.
knows.
It's good when you don't listen to it for a while because
There
let's
you
be
go.
honest, this is the most overplayed Metallica song ever.
Saturated.
Totally.
But when
Oversaturation.
you don't hear it for a while, and you're like, oh man, I know why I like this song. I know why I
Yeah.
got into this song.
Was that
you
a
know?
wah wah pedal? Wow.
But no, it's this. I'm looking at my notes. I was like, most overplayed Metallica song ever, but it's still a great pump up song. Like,
But
Yeah.
everything we talked about before about the pivot from Justice when the drums come in right after the clips that we played, when the bass drum comes in, they start
Bop,
rumbling.
bop. bop.
Yes. Oh, okay. This is something
Yeah.
different. This is interesting.
Yeah.
I want to see where this goes.
I mean, when you look at the documentary, I mean, first of all, having to track Lars's drums had to be like,
look like a
hell
nightmare, bro.
on earth. He never, I mean, he's a fucking asshole. The only one that seemed to be working well would be like James and Jason. They were like there doing their job. Kirk was fine. I mean, he was a pain in the ass a little bit.
Kirk's just
but
kind of out there, yeah.
He's like
Comes
part
in,
of the
drops
band, but
solo.
he's just, yeah, I'm here. I'm in Metallica. You know,
Well,
I like him. He's funny as hell.
Kirk makes me laugh too. Yeah.
I think he figured out, from the jump what everybody who's ever survived in Metallica has to, which is it's their show, and you got to go with it.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was funny in that documentary, Pico, where like a lot of times Jason like says things to the camera, and then you look at it in retrospect where we know he left 10 years later, and you're like, oh, it 100% makes sense. Where he's like, fuck these guys. Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. And I always like Jason. Like, I think Rob is an actual better bass player than Jason was because he still does the fingers, But from an energy perspective, like a live perspective, Jason was so fucking amped up. He had that connection with the crowd. He would do it where he'd play like Whiplash and he'd sing it because James is taking a break, pounding 5 beers behind the stage.
Destroy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it's crazy now that Trujillo's been with them longer than Jason was now, right?
That's
he's been he's the longest bass. He's been with them 21 years at this point.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Well,
have we said what we have to say about Enter Sandman?
I mean, there's nothing much to say
what
about
else
it.
What else can you say?
It's a great opening song, but
if you're Yankee fans, who cares what you think? You're biased. He stole it from Billy Wagner anyway.
Dude, look at what's going to happen is soon, because it'll be 25 years soon, we're going to do a Subway Series episode. It's going to happen.
Oh, God, it's going to be depressing.
Bubba's going to be so pissed. He's going to be screaming.
We won't do it for the amount of games it was.
Speaking of the Subway Series, sad but true, huh?
Yeah.
I like this better than Enter Sandman. I think
I agree.
I definitely like sad but true.
I just love it's a big fat heavy riff, man. It's like the chord, like what I didn't play guitar, Pico, but it's like where you hold the chord, so it just where you hold so it just cuts off. Like I don't know what the hell that's called, but that
thing,
and it just and it cuts it off right away. It's just fucking big fat heavy riff, and I love it. The drums. There's actually one where Lars's lack of playing ability doesn't matter because it's I think I could play this song. Right?
Yeah, it's just like bop, 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 bop. That's all it is.
It's just heavy as shit. And even, you see when they play it live now, because they've gotten cheesy, they're always like, you want heavy? And it's like, we'll give you heavy. Because it hits you in the chest. This is a heavy song, It
is.
It's weird, but to me, it always sounded like a sequel to Harvester's Sorrow.
No, that's a good point.
Like a slower version of it.
Like a less complex. Yeah, that's a good point.
Like it has the same relationship to the other songs.
Sorrow, sad but true. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then both the lyrics are kind of in the same vein, right, too? This is, once again, the lyrics here are also a little dark,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like very dark.
Well, I mean, it's funny. They really put out, I'm just checking when the last Pantera album so they put one out in 90 and then 92, so they didn't put one out in 91.
So 90 was Cowboys from Hell, 92 was Far Beyond Driven?
No, 92 was
Vulgar. My bad, I messed up.
Bite your tongue.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Sabatrue's great. I mean, that to me was one of the highlights when I was listening to it. I was like,
Agreed.
Oh shit. I was like, I forgot. Yep. And again, the mix is perfect for this. You hear everything. You could hear everything. The snare snaps when he hits it. Everything is really much better.
Why were you asking about Pantera? Because don't tell me somebody was picking up the mantle of the groove that hits you and the thrash in 92. Be like, oh, you guys don't want that anymore? It's all right, we'll do both.
Well, I was thinking of that because they obviously, I forget what album it's on, and but I don't think it's on any of those first two albums, so maybe it's later that they put out the Suicidal Note Part 2, which
that was Great Southern Train Kill.
Yeah, because I remember in the live album that they did, they're like, this is our single, and I was just like, remember hearing that, and I was like,
it's Suicidal Note Part 2. Yeah.
That song is out of hand, but that's a band that never wanted to cross over ever.
Unintentionally hilarious, that band.
Exactly. Yeah, rest in peace.
Exactly.
But yes, but true. I mean, I liked it. I mean, I like it better than, like I said, like it better than Enter Sandman.
Agreed, man. Next, we got Holier Than Thou. I mean, I love this song. This is one of the songs that borders on thrash.
Yep. Great bass part.
right away the lyrics, no more, the crap falls out your mouth again. Like it's
I
just
think
like,
what I said
this
to Bill
song is just shit talking people, right? Like
I think what I said to Bill when
someone
I was
specifically, I don't know
well,
who, but
yeah, when we were talking about this, I'm like, all of James's lyrics just sound like "fuck you, fuck me, we're fucked, fuck us, fuck this shit."
yeah,
Yo,
that's basically what this song is.
the lyrics are hilarious, unless I'm wrong, unless I'm looking at a website that is just wrong. But the word gelatin is in this song. Haven't changed, your brain is still gelatin. Little
Oh,
with
you're
your
Wow.
right.
circle around your head. Like,
Wow.
I never realized that. That's interesting. But yeah, I wonder who he's talking. I wonder if he's talking about a specific person here or a group of people. I don't know.
We were still too busy trying to figure out kill what might have been
wow.
from Blackened. Kills what might have
Yeah,
been.
is
Bit
it
might have
like
been.
is it like subversive and he's talking about a group of people? I have to holier than thou
Before
lyrics.
you judge me and take a look at you, can't you find something better to do? Point the finger, slow to understand. Arrogance and ignorance go hand in hand. Look, I think a part of me
It's
is almost
Lars. It's about Lars.
it's about Lars. I think a part of it's also, to me, it's just almost like a premonition of the type of shit they're gonna get for this album.
That's
So
a
it's
good point.
almost like they're like making this album and they're just like, oh boy, here we go. Let's just make the songs now to tell people to shut the fuck up, because like they
That's a
knew
good
they were
point.
making that change. I mean, going into making
I
this
like that. That's a
album,
good point.
they weren't like unaware of that, and I think they, this is what they wanted,
Hmm.
to be the biggest band in the goddamn fucking
In the
world.
world.
The other thing I think is interesting because we talk about James' lyrics are dark, but I think that's something that made Metallica popular here and before. Is his lyrics are dark, but they're relatable. Like
Yeah.
I'm just looking at this now, and the shit that's in here, you could apply this to think about how many situations you've gone through with people in your life where you're reading this, and you could apply it to that or others. My favorite is "Fade to Black." Sounds like it's about suicide, and I think he wrote
So
it
good.
after he lost
About
an
a
amp or
stolen
something.
amplifier.
A stolen
So it's like-
amplifier.
It was the best one, man. It was my favorite.
But it's I think
Great.
that's something that really resonated with people with this band. Outside of some of the ridiculous early lyrics that were just like, fuck you, we're gonna destroy you live.
because we're
Big
Metallica.
metal militia,
Yeah.
But I think that's a thing. Like the lyrics kind of resonated with people a lot.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean,
and
you're
are
right.
applicable to a bunch of different situations.
Yeah.
It
But you're
doesn't
right
matter
also.
what they said on Kill 'Em All. No one was listening to the words. They were just like, how are their fingers staying on?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. But also, this was one of the more thrashy songs. I mean, when
Yeah,
we
I
did
like this
saying
song
it,
a
like
lot.
they're a thrash metal band, and in a way, they kind of just like
One of the big four.
throw that away and decided to not be thrash anymore because there's nothing thrash about this album at all.
This
Bubble,
is like this borders
are they-
on it, but that's about it.
Are they still making thrash metal? Are there still bands out there that primarily
really.
identify as thrash?
Oh yeah. No, I mean,
Post-thrash?
like if you think of first of all, like Slayer never changed. I would argue that the last couple Megadeth albums are still thrash metal, despite the fact that Dave Mustaine's voice is very grating at points. I still think he's a sick guitar player, and like they're still thrash.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Special
got
guest.
We got a
Who's
drop
this?
in. We got a cameo. It's the Long Island Brewers Guild, obviously.
Is that Manny?
I hope so.
I mean,
Tell us, stranger, what do you have to say about Metallica's 1991 breakthrough album, Metallica?
show yourself.
But there's still. Oh,
No.
what's up, Manny?
Oh, Manny Coelho. The other, and then look, he wanted. Look, Manny's trying to come in and do this whole
What?
thing, and he's
Not
slowly.
Somebody.
What?
Oh, you
Oh,
Oh,
totally
you
like-
didn't know? What is this? You guys are doing a podcast without me?
What did
Well,
we
yeah,
say? No.
I mean-
Would you believe us?
No, listen. I got two boys that I've known since second grade coming
This is-
over here trying to
this is-
take over.
This
What is
podcast,
this? What are you
this
guys
discussion
talking
is
about?
clearly the property
about,
of the University
This is
of
what we're
South
talking
Metallica's
about,
California.
Black
Manny. Here
Album.
we go. Ready? The
I
only
do
thrash.
crack. I do
only-
meth. I do crack. I do
Um,
meth.
Math wasn't so big back then.
Dude, guys.
It's an album that came out when you and Bill were
Thank
next
God
door
I was
neighbors.
not invited to this podcast.
That's what we were just saying.
I would have
You-
brought nothing to the table.
Oh, you're
Nothing.
missing a great conversation.
Am I?
Yeah.
About Metallica?
Dude.
Bill took copious
I mean-
notes. He's got a
he is-
thesis.
We're going through the set list right. We're going through the entire list right now. We're up to the Unforgiven. Manny, if you have any thoughts on the Unforgiven, I mean, this is a song. Now, here's the thing. Manny's
about
the
all the
perfect
unforgiven people in
person
your
to
life?
kind of comment on this album.
Oh, it's a
little bit.
good point.
Because the Black
Manny
Album
represents the masses.
Yeah.
The Black
The Man on
Album
the Street.
isn't even. This is one of their biggest hits.
Biggest hits. I will say. Oh, we're listening.
Right? Unforgiven, right? 7 seconds of a trumpet sound, so we don't get too much after
Currently from the spaghetti western film, The Unforgiven.
that.
Oh, is that what it is?
Jesus
But
Christ.
played backwards to avoid,
What?
the situation you're. Yeah.
They
I will
played
say
I
that.
didn't know that.
Wow.
I'm gonna say that listening to this whole album, all I could think about is every song is a soundtrack to some crazy ass western or some showdown that's like something insane. Every song belongs in a movie.
Is that your personal
That's a-
opinion, or is that the position of the Long Island Brewers Guild?
Oh yeah, I signed
Yeah,
on
it's
to
gonna
the
be-
wrong account. Listen, I didn't have time. All right, I was running late. I was like, oh shit, I was not on my account.
I just want to
All
remind
right,
you who
Jeremy,
who
you
you're
had to
speaking
put that
for
in
here.
there.
I'm
Your
just
OCD couldn't handle it.
I'm just trying to
All
help
right?
you. I'm looking out for you, man. Looking out for the guild.
All right, yeah, the guild. Listen, no, I think it was definitely the whole time I was listening to this. First of all, I was like, damn, these are fucking bringing back some crazy nostalgic vibes.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, man, these are great videos. This is when like
Yep.
videos were like,
Yep.
we were
That's shit.
watching
That's
videos,
fucking-
right? Like
That's what I
this
said, man.
meant
My
the
first
thing.
memory of Metallica is like in 5th grade, watching the top 20 countdown every week on MTV and seeing that Sandman video. Like
Yeah.
and like with a fucking truck hits the bed at the end, you're like, holy shit!
When you have
Dude,
to turn
I went to a show because Jason Martinez was a Metallica fan.
See?
second Jason Martinez
And-
reference.
And I only really liked Metallica because of this. And we saw them at MSG, and I had a fucking blast.
Oh, it's a good
But I
time,
was
man.
like,
It's a
but
good
I'm not a metal. Even though I remember Four in the Chamber. His
I do.
His favorite, Jason's favorite.
Yeah,
He had the
yeah,
hat.
so
yeah.
It's a
I would do a
hardcore
show.
band, right?
Like, that's a
Yeah.
hardcore band. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what it is. Like, I was thinking about, I was like, man, thank God I didn't get on this podcast. 'Cause I'm like, I'm not a
Drummer.
metal fan, right? But I'm like, obviously, but I'm like, this is like metal pop. If like Metallica is like Blink 182 was
Oh, gee.
to punk,
Ooh.
right?
Like we said.
It got to
Yeah.
like mainstream, and
Yeah, yeah.
like you
100%.
hear him on Stern. I've listened to interviews, and I'm like phenomenal. And listen, they had like that time that they did like orchestra, and they had all that
Banana.
shit. It was great. And I was listening to
We
this,
were
and I was
there.
just like, after
Some of us.
40 seconds, I was like, I can't. I mean, not to say that they're not amazing musicians and the sounds aren't great. It's
Yeah.
just not my thing. It's not my cup of tea, if you
Yeah.
will.
Right.
That's fair.
But this album
Yeah.
is nostalgic as fuck.
I'll tell you what.
Like,
When you had to go and turn on the MTV and wait and hope that you hadn't missed the video you want to see and then it be
Yeah.
played, you remembered it. Not like
Yeah,
now when
definitely.
you go on your phone and you're like, "Hey Siri, play that video I like for me again for the millionth time."
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this would be like, I'm thinking about other other songs that I was into that I'm like, oh, watch the video. These videos were better.
Yeah.
These songs were made for mini movies. So,
Yep.
Manny, here's a crazy
Loved it.
stat I mentioned at the beginning. This album, Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion, Pearl Jam's 10, Nirvana's Nevermind, Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar, Sex Magic, and maybe there are a couple others came out in six weeks in the same within 6 weeks in the same year.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Think about how
That's
many
crazy.
videos you watched.
Yeah.
Those. Think about
Nuts.
Anthony Kiedis's boobs just
Oh my
bouncing
God,
in slow
yeah.
motion.
It's funny now that you're saying that about the videos and just like the thinking about the pop impact. The only other heavy album that I can think that had as much of a impact in general pop culture, I would probably say like the first Guns N' Roses album. Like
Yes.
and still today, like those, you know.
Did that have November Rain in it?
No, that
Not
was
the
more
first
like
one.
Welcome to the
Different, yeah.
Jungle, Paradise
Oh, okay.
City, My
November
Michelle,
Rain
like.
was on Use Your Illusion, which
Use
is
Your
one that came out at the same time
Yeah.
as Black Album.
But that was
Okay.
more where it was just more stripped down. Like they took hair metal and added like a heavier aspect to it. But that album, I feel like, kind of like was very popular.
That album
big-
has insane crossover. Like the Guns N'
Yeah.
Roses album that first album is out of hand. Like,
All right.
But it's
it did
kind of
so
like
many-
this is like in the same echelon of like from
Yeah.
a pop culture perspective, right?
Well-
like
Oh yeah.
it's just that was their first album, which is fucking mind blowing. By the way, I think that's one of the best first albums ever. And this is like a total cultural shift. But for the impact on like music in general and like from a heavier band like being popular, I'd say those are like in the same echelon.
Well, we're skirting around it because that's basically Nirvana's Nevermind, love it or hate it, but that's basically took heavy music, stripped away all of the pop ephemera and kind of made fun of it and went off in a whole nother direction.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
did you guys bring up the fact that became also popular because what's his name against Napster?
Like, oh no, we didn't go there yet.
We didn't even
that didn't happen for
like that's. I know
we're still 91, bro.
So like later on, but like they're always in the zeitgeist.
Oh,
like
yeah, Metallica is always a part of something.
You know, is there like argument that some metalheads don't like them?
Oh, this is this album is the defining moment for some Metallica fans that had been on board from the beginning because like they were like, this is our band, they're heavy as fuck, they're thrashy, and then this came out and they were like, fuck this album.
But
like,
this happens
with
with
Metallica.
Legacy act that's around for
that's how I feel
years.
about In Flames.
No, I mean you're always
gonna
hate
In Flames because they got pussy and
a bunch of
but like
dumb music, you know.
Like I think it's hilarious to be a fan because not hilarious. I think it happens in any genre.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Real Big Fish's sellout song it's a perfect thing. Like people love their band until they sell out. But that's kind of where
I would
that good. They're that good. Like I remember somebody even like to shamelessly plug the brewery. I remember someone walking in. They're like, "Oh, I can't believe Blue Point sold and blah blah." I was like, "Have you ever owned a fucking company?" And they're like, "What?" I'm like, if somebody walked in here right now and offered me $24 million, I'm signing the check. No questions asked. I'm signing the check.
Not even calling
open up a small brewery later or something.
Yeah.
I don't care. Never had to pay insurance, payroll, overhead, deal with employees.
Yeah.
You should shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? That's eventually where they're going to go or else it's like this. If your band is that good that you like and they don't sell out, they're going to eventually suck. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, they didn't change.
They're going to be living out of their fucking van.
Yeah, they're just going to be like, oh, they never changed. They never got better. They kind of stayed the same.
I kept seeing them at Deja One until they were 40 years old.
Okay, I get it. But
what the fuck, dude?
But with Metallica, here's the difference. And this is the difference with this for me, is that they already were huge. And
they were,
and so you're coming off of what Master Puppets is like the album right before this, right?
No,
Justice for All.
Justice for All. Okay, you're already huge. Wait, that's so weird. Wait a second.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's like saying something was in the 90s, but should have looked like it should have been done in the 80s. Like Justice, they went from a better produced album like Master Puppets to let's produce this in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so weird.
Wow. Okay, there was a lot involved there, but they were not dealing well with their second bass player dying. Okay.
No, I get it. No, I understand that. But okay, you're already big. You're doing this stuff. Blah blah blah. This was a very conscious choice. To me, it was just like we're thrash, we're this, and now we're AC/DC. I feel like there's just there's a sound choice that you make. I mean, look, not every band's going to be like Slayer. I mean, Slayer has his fan base and they're always going to be Slayer. They put one album out that was kind of
which I saw live too.
Slayer. You saw
Which
Slayer live?
I saw Slayer live at Jones Beach.
Oh, which Slayer album wasn't a Slayer album, Dan?
The Diabolica.
Diabolus and Musica.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
But I love the intro to that. Bitter
I
Peace.
love
That's
that
a great
album.
song. Yeah.
So I think that one. Great.
I had that on tape because it was stuck in
Samuel
Brother's Thunderbird when he bought it. It was stuck in the tape.
Dan's got to bleep that out. You said his name.
Oh,
Pico,
that gets bleeped?
To your point about them already being a huge band, I looked it up. So, like, Injustice for All peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200, where it charted for 83 weeks. So they were already fucking huge, and they just were like, "Hey, let's go into the stratosphere and leave the biggest fucking band."
I mean,
Billy, do you think that they were just like, that somebody helped them? Like they were like, "Listen,
I think
this
Lars
is what
an asshole. Like he's a great businessman, but you know how it is, Manny. Like to be a great businessman, you kind of got to be a fucking asshole, and he has no problem being the fucking asshole.
That's what makes me a bad businessman.
Well, Lars,
I try to be an asshole, I just can't, and I just told somebody that I'll never be perfect because.
But that's the thing.
He's a prick.
Yeah, you're right.
Lars, just to me, and this sounds terrible, and then I want to talk about the Unforgiven because I think it's one of the biggest songs on the album. Well, it's the second biggest. Apparently, or third biggest, or whatever it is.
It's funny. I have a different take on one of my favorite songs in here, but
I feel like Lars just knew that he couldn't keep up with musically with where the band
That's a
was
good point.
probably going to try to go. Well, it could have gone, right?
Yeah,
And I
'cause they're
feel
just
like
gonna get more progressive.
I know because Injustice is super a progressive album. It's unbelievable. You have instrumentals and things like. I just feel like he just couldn't. He wouldn't be able to keep up, right? And he
I didn't
wasn't
think
going to
about that,
leave
Pete.
the
That's a
band.
good point.
He wasn't
Yeah.
going to ever leave Metallica.
So
It would have
push
just they would
this.
just would have broken up. But
So push this. Yeah.
Cliff dies. He could take the reins more, and so then he is pretty much taking.
So
the
you think
reins
this guy's
as Norman Coelho.
diabolical?
What
I
he's
think
saying
he
is
is.
100%.
He
he
definitely
thinks
is.
that Lars Ulrich makes Steve Jobs look like Tom Hanks.
So he
Yeah.
kind of took Metallica as like a corporation.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
100%.
like
100%.
Kiss.
That-
I mean, yeah,
that's
I mean,
why-
he tackled Napster, and
Right.
in the end, like if you think Napster, Lars is next to Napster. That's
Yeah.
There was skits
That's what you
about
see
it.
you see the new documentary they're putting out. The
No.
LeBron James and Eminem are producing. I watched the trailer. Not one mention of Metallica in it. I'm like, this is a ridiculous documentary. Like, fuck you,
Wow.
LeBron
What's the
James.
documentary
Like,
about?
on
it's
Napster
like-
with no
it's
Metallica.
literally about Napster. It's about
No,
it's a
you
two-part
can't have-
documentary series produced by Eminem and LeBron James. Who, by the way, LeBron James was like 13 when this shit happened. So it's And then
Why
like,
are
there's,
they-
I'm watching
why
it.
are
I'm like,
those two
did they get
together?
Metallica in this or
This
no?
is
And
like
I
a
see no
fucking-
mention of it. And I'm like, what
This is
the
a
fuck,
magic
dude?
trick.
Wow,
Houdini,
not one
baby.
mention. Not one mention.
At least in
Metallica.
the trailer that I saw, I don't want to watch it because I hate LeBron James. Eminem produced it. I'm sure it'd be cool if he just did it, but fuck LeBron James. So, but
Well-
just in the trailer, no mention of Metallica. I was like, this is weird.
Not
It was
everybody
so
likes
like,
Eminem.
you know,
I'm
no,
not-
they do
I-
not. They
I'm-
do not.
I
I'm
do.
kinda-
Dan is all against his.
All
new
I'm gonna
shit.
say, I keep saying it. I think like Ice Ice
No
Baby
radio
has
play.
like way
I
more
think-
replay than a lot of Eminem songs.
We need
That's
to
fair.
do
That
That's
song
an
is
entire-
ultimate replay, by the way.
Yeah.
We
That
need
song.
to-
That's
I
my
like the
go-to
new song.
karaoke song.
what's your go-to karaoke?
Ice Ice Baby, bro. You don't.
Oh.
I don't even need the fucking.
Oh,
TV for that.
me and Billy did it at his brother's wedding.
Yes, we did.
I think we need to do a whole episode just devoted to Kill You.
No,
Oh, good song.
Dude, I
Not
love
at
I
all.
love watching the reactions of people.
No.
Oh,
like,
did you
that
see that?
song-
There's a video
freaking out.
recently.
they're
That
like
song
they're
is
watching
terrible.
Kim and they're like,
No,
what?
no, we
I'm
saw
like,
Kill
oh
You,
my God.
which we all
I
remember
was like,
from
people
prom.
would
This
Yeah.
people
song.
are like cancel Eminem. I'm like, cancel Eminem. Do you
He's
understand what
canceled
we
himself.
listened to
He-
in
that's
2000?
I don't even want to give it even more time. That last song was
Bill-
terrible,
Dude,
but it was a cover
Dude,
of a way better song.
Dan texts
But-
me. He's like crying about it. I'm like, dude,
I
just
hate
chill. It's okay.
He sucks.
I think it's hilarious. I
but
think it's
back to-
hilarious.
Back to the Black Album,
People are allowed
Oh,
to
that
change,
thing.
Dan.
Unforgiven.
Great song.
Like Eminem, Unforgiven.
Houdini.
I love this song. To me, this is one of my favorite solos as well.
It's a great. Oh, dude, I agree. And this is the one in the documentary where he finally gets it right. And like the song, it kind of everything builds up to it, and then it's the solo is amazing. The lyrics are still dark, you know, and like it has the 12-string guitar at the beginning. It comes in, and
yeah.
then the heavy riff kicks. I agree with you, man. I fucking love this song.
Is it
And
just
this
me,
is probably
like-
top 5 solos of Metallica solos for me. This
I
is
think
amazing.
there's about 4 or 5 songs that could have been like Undertaker's soundtrack.
Oh
Like
yeah.
fucking, like him just walking in. It's,
Oh, yeah.
Undertaker's just now Metallica's.
Why not?
Metallica's just making songs for them. I would have been cool with it.
He was waiting for Kid Rock's American
I was
Badass.
just
American
gonna
Badass,
say.
yeah.
I was
Ripping
just
off
gonna
Sam
say,
That
True.
was when he like had
Oh.
to change his little character, which was annoying because I was like, "Why did
We're
you
gonna
just-
have to do
Undertaker
Bob with a
just stayed
Bob.
the whole
The
time."
Dead Man.
I will say that I was thinking about it and I was like,
I'll take a
it's not
piss
even
quick, guys. I'll be
Star.
right back.
I like Nothing Else Matters.
Okay.
Oh,
Nothing Else
hot
Matters.
take.
Is,
Bobo said that was the one he would cut from the whole album.
really,
I know. And then
I
he just left to go to the bathroom. We need
good.
him back when he
I'm
comes
fi-
back. But
I'm
go ahead,
fine with-
Manny.
no, I don't know. Like I was like, okay, yeah, Understand, man. It's sad but true. Unforgiven is good, but I was listening to it and I was like, oh, this is actually I was getting like a lot of nostalgic vibes this whole album.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, well, it passed. I don't think it passes. I just think there's so much that reminds me of every single one of my friends
Yeah.
because you all like them.
Yeah.
A
Why?
lot of us did, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Why does anybody like Dave Matthews Band? What can I tell you? No counting taste.
Yeah, this is true. But there was a couple people and I couldn't I enjoyed being around it, but I just couldn't love it.
You could love it.
I hear you.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
It's a great track. You know, it's just one where you feel like, all right, they're trying to do something new and different, but I'm into it. Although, as I said to Bobo before, they play this one on the radio a lot, and my wife, Allison, kind of can't stand it because she thinks it falls into a category of music she says she hates, which is where it sounds like the singer is constipated. Which, according to Bobo, every single Metallica song probably qualifies for that. But
yeah, how? Yeah.
Bill, you didn't like Nothing Else Matters.
Bill,
you didn't like Nothing Else Matters.
We're up to Nothing Else Matters. No,
I just said that was like actually one of my favorite songs. I like it.
I used to like this song, but I was listening to it again. I think I've heard it so many times. I'm just kind of over it. I think the solo is still awesome, but this is a skip for me. And like every Metallica show I've ever gone to, like in the last,
you go to the bathroom.
15 years. Yeah, it's the piss song every time.
Okay.
That's what he said. Say what he says.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I gotta say, I
used to like this song a lot. I think I've just heard it way too much.
I mean, watching them live, phenomenal live show.
Yeah.
And I know you were at the Woodstock. Didn't you see them in Woodstock?
No, I wanted to go to that. My parents said no, which after seeing the documentaries,
thank God
you didn't go.
Their part.
You saw them some other time though.
I've probably seen them like 15 times. Yeah, so I saw them.
I remember concert I ever went to. I think.
What happened?
What?
I think it was the first concert I ever went to when we were like 15.
Over each other.
There you go.
You guys went to some field that they were playing at.
Well, they played at Giant Stadium when we were in high school. We saw them then, right after senior high school.
Tattoo the earth.
Me and Tony went and saw them in Atlantic City at some fucking airfield. Saw them there.
All I know is that I will say this. I was thinking about just nostalgically, right?
That's so funny.
Why I like Metallica is it reminds me of all my friends who like Metallica, right?
That's fair.
So anytime I listen to this, I just get like nostalgic vibes. I remember you calling us. I don't know where we were, but you were somewhere where they were playing live, and it was like your face. I just, like you're just going nuts, right? And we didn't even have. I don't even know if we had iPhones at that. Right?
I bet it was flip phone days.
I think I like Metallica just because it reminds me of my friends.
Yeah, that's
so like that. Like when I'm listening to it, I'm like, why do I like them?
So you're saying it's all nostalgia?
It's only nostalgia to me.
It's all nostalgia.
Yeah,
because only nostalgia.
Dude, there's two people here that I've known. Nostalgia. There's two people here and knows it's second grade,
and then
Metallica ties me into Billy all the time, and I don't think I've ever sat in and talked about Metallica with Billy. The only person it was Jason Martinez, and of course, Dan and I are connected with Jason Martinez because. He lived on the block and
that was the first thing he said at the beginning, man. I got into this because Jason Martinez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the only way.
And so
this is the way.
I guess what I was thinking about it when I was like, oh, I'm gonna ambush this show because I wasn't gonna come on, but I was like, it's just a band that's been in the zeitgeist so much.
Oh yeah.
Growing up that I think I just like them because of the fact that it makes me feel good to be around. Like I never was like, yeah, but I was like, all right, I'm here for it. Like I'm here for it. Why not? Are you gonna buy me a ticket?
Exactly.
Sure, I'll go. Like I don't really.
Who's buying you tickets to see Metallica?
I don't really like baseball, but if you're gonna take me to a Met game, I'm coming.
Exactly.
Sure.
It'd probably be a
Bubba doesn't like that too much anymore either.
So I'll go to a Metallica show. Why not? I'm going to hang out with my friends that I've known for so long, and they're just going through all these things. So that's what I get from Metallica.
Maybe let's just go to the bar and have a few drinks, save a few $100.
Yeah,
I think it would be a good show. I think we would have a good time. Imagine they had again. That Woodstock was fucked up.
Dude, those documentaries.
But I would have been in the EDM room. Yeah. Like I wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have cared about.
There's like no EDM room, dude.
You would have been.
Yeah, it was, dude. There
would have been getting heat stroke at the rave.
That's where those girls. This girl was getting like. It was bad. Did you see that, Dan?
The documentary.
You see that? No, I didn't watch it.
You see that documentary about?
No, I didn't need to watch that documentary. I heard all about it.
That shit was
like, I don't need to watch it.
Are you talking about the Music Box one?
I think
it was on
there
HBO.
Were two,
yes,
but one felt like a ripoff of the other one.
Yeah, it was.
Music
Dan's
Box was
like,
the
why Dan's like, why did Manny come on?
was the
this?
what's his name?
The show's derailed.
Boston sports guy.
Your editing job just got harder, Pico.
There's no more editing. I want
he
everyone
doesn't
to
edit
understand
anymore.
this.
He
This is
doesn't
more of a
edit anymore.
hangout now. You come
Yeah.
to hang out with your friends, and this
That's
is
it.
what it's
I
about.
like
bro.
it.
That's it.
You don't like it.
How's it
just
going to
give us a
market this,
like and
Bill?
walk away.
Come on, you've got an MBA. This is unmarketable. Come on.
No.
All right,
it's,
so-
it's marketable.
Unforgiven. We just went through Unforgiven. Is anyone taking that off the album, or is I
No,
feel like
great-
it's one of
great
my
song.
favorite songs? Great. It's like
Love
one of
that
the best solos. So Wherever I May Roam. Now we're coming towards like the middle. Like we're getting
classic
towards the
road
middle
song.
of the album. Wherever I May Roam. So where are you with this one?
I like this song. Like this is
Good.
to me, this is indicative of what they did the next 3 years of just absolute road warriors. And that's one thing.
Yeah.
Like people can shit on Metallica all they want, but like these motherfuckers sound good live. Like
Still
we've all
do.
seen them live,
Absolutely.
and like that has been a part of their person. Because we've all seen bands that suck live, and I don't respect
Yeah.
bands that don't sound good live. They can go fuck themselves and get a
Blink-182.
different job.
Let's
Yeah,
name
exactly.
a few bands.
Blink
Yeah.
182.
Yeah.
Blink 182 is the worst
Controversial.
person.
Red Hot Chili Peppers is the worst concert I've ever seen in my life. They sounded
And
like
wow.
dog shit
Okay,
when I saw
you
them.
know
They
why?
started
Like
the
I
fire
remember
at
that.
99.
Do you know
baby.
why?
Yeah.
Do you
Fuck
know
that.
why though? I listened to a bunch of interviews with them when they came out their new albums because they pretty much do a lot more improvising. They do all these things that they never do, and they try to do things that.
Okay,
like,
so they're trying to push it. That's
but at
fair.
a certain point, it's like you're not the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, I just
like-
want to see it.
Yeah, and
I want
like
it to sound
I,
good.
You have
I mean, dude,
You're
I
all
go
great
to, I pay
musicians,
for a
but-
performance.
Offspring
Yeah.
was terrible when I saw them. The Offspring sounded like
Yeah.
trash.
Yeah, I don't respect
Preach.
bands that aren't good live. Whereas like even look at live albums, like to me, like coming off the heels of this, like Live Shit, Binge and Purge that Metallica put out is
good.
one of the best live album box sets
Yeah.
that's ever been fucking created.
Was it like
Jeremy, you
13
know,
minutes
I know,
Seek and
I know,
Destroy?
I know what James's refrains in the songs, what he yells at the crowd when I
Hey,
listen to that
girl!
because I've listened to it so much. I just got that guy drunk for free. He just keeps talking, and it's
he
like
was obviously at the top of his
18-minute
game.
version of Seek and Destroy.
Yeah.
Like,
And all they're saying is "Seeker."
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
What
like-
is it? I can't hear you.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like when
but it's like
Ozzy
you
used
literally
to
can't
come
hear
on
them.
stage and be like, "I can't."
But dude, there's an art to
Go.
there's an art to that, right?
Oh,
Like,
playing the
an
crowd,
art to
100%,
play with the
bro.
crowd and stuff like that.
Metallica's
Like,
an
Queen
amazing
was
live
that
band.
good, you know. You have to, that's a different kind of performance.
Yep,
Like-
it's not just coming
Well,
out there, and that's
yeah.
there's guys like I've never seen them, but Tool apparently just comes out.
I've
Tool,
seen
great
them.
band, don't get me wrong, but they
That's
apparently
fine.
just come out and just play, right?
Hey.
No crowd interaction, but
Yeah.
Metallica is great, like playing up the crowd, like it's an
Yeah,
experience.
bro,
when you're at
man,
the
I
show.
paid
Tool
ticket-
doesn't
I paid
care
a
that the
ticket.
crowd is there.
You know who's really good?
Exactly.
Best concert I've been to twice. Killers.
Oh yeah.
Really?
You
I've
want to
seen
talk about
them.
you want to talk about a performer like
They're
you're
great.
Great
First of all,
singer.
they come like Flowers is from Vegas, so like
Yeah.
he grew up in that
Yeah.
performer. I'm putting on a show.
Of course, he's
Dude,
also
when
Mormon.
I've been
but-
to two of them,
Yes.
and both of them I was blown away of the performance. I was like,
Yeah.
I paid money, and I got every
You got your
cent.
money's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I've
was
seen
it
them
was just
live.
like
They're
there's
good.
people who are different. Oh, yeah, I'm not just gonna play my album, but I'm gonna perform right here. Like I saw
Yeah.
Coldplay, but then I saw Coldplay twice in a row. It's the same fucking show.
So
Yeah.
I saw
I was
Coldplay.
kind of like-
yeah.
I'm a little disappointed that you didn't change it up because that means you're just following a process, and I need you to like adjust a little bit.
Switch
Like,
it up. Yep.
Yeah.
Jeremy, did you see Coldplay with us in Jones Beach?
I saw Coldplay at Jones Beach, and I saw
Yes.
Coldplay at MSG. And that was 22
Two
years
totally
ago.
different shows.
Oh, and I saw them.
I saw Eminem at Jones.
And I saw them a third
Wasn't
time.
good.
I
he
saw
played
them.
he played Renegade
Eminem
with
wasn't
Jay-Z,
good.
and Jay-Z sold up.
Ooh.
Oh,
I like
didn't-
that.
That was really fucking good.
when I saw Eminem there. I didn't like it. It wasn't.
You
I was
just
gonna-
don't like Eminem. Get over
I think
it.
I'm over him.
I was going to interject to say that I saw Coldplay a third time, but I don't know why I feel the need to really emphasize that. But
You know, it's a good live band that I've seen a couple times. It's amazing, just to show that I'm not just into metal. Is Muse is a really good fucking live.
No,
heard
I
you
saw
said they're
them.
Crazy.
Really
that's,
good
they're
live
really
band.
good.
It's
That
metal
was really
adjacent.
good. I saw
They
them
got
in
riffs.
a theater, and it was a theater.
A third hour.
I saw them in a theater. I saw them in a theater, and it was a really
my
good
God.
show.
Dude, I saw them in
Yeah.
Ask Coliseum and the power cut out in the middle of a song, and when it came back on, they fucking picked the song right back up where it cut out and
Wow.
finished
Nice.
it. I was like, wow, that's impressive.
You know
They're
who's
fucking
real-
solid.
Who's really good is Bastille. You ever listen to Bastille?
That
French Revolution.
yes, that's right, Bill.
They have
French
that
Revolution.
Pompeii song.
Yeah, that's the only song I
Anyway,
You're
know.
so
thinking of
I
Pink
saw
Floyd.
them live, right? I've never experienced. So I was watching the sound guy do his thing, the producer that's like in the middle adjusting things, and I was like being a lot more focused on what he was doing and like his job, and then what was going on, and like the headphones, and the singer was losing some things, but he was able to change some things, and he was like telling him, like, I was watching a whole other show than everybody else. And I was like, these people are fucking professional. Like, they were adjusting on things that were going wrong. So it's
the sound guy for Bastille that you really like.
No, I think I just like the fact that there was like, they were so good at pivoting to what was going on with the sound that was bad there.
Yeah.
And figuring things out. I thought they were great live.
Holy
because
shit. Yeah.
What? I just thought it was great.
No, Billy just sent me this crazy picture.
I tried to share it and I couldn't, so I was like, let me send it to Pico.
What'd you send?
Oh my God.
This is from when I saw when Jeremy, you were at this show where we saw them in 2000 at Tattoo the Earth at Giant Stadium, and this picture I just sent Pico showed up on Metallica's website a couple days later. So
it's cut off. It's cut off. Yes. He's above the sign. There it is.
Holy shit! See, that's what I'm saying, Bill. Bill, right there, that
on
picture.
Metallica's website.
Bill, that picture of you is anytime I listen to Metallica. That's
like you
the
picture
face
me doing
that I
that.
see.
He fought through a crowd
that's
of
why
like
I think I like Metallica. I don't otherwise like metal.
That's fair.
And then I'm just like, this kid I knew since second grade, maybe even before that.
I think since we were basically 5, because it was before you were at Hampton, because you were at Corpus Christi.
Because I was at Corpus Christi. So like, knowing you that long, and anytime Metallica comes on, I'm just like, Billy.
So it reminds you, So it is definitely nostalgic at that point. It's a good point.
So okay.
Trying to bring it back.
So moving on to
why did I tell Manny to come on this show?
If we want to keep going through all these songs, we can. We could jump around, but like the next, wherever I made.
That's a great song too. Jump around, Mrs. Doubtfire, taking it back.
Shit.
But don't tread on me. What do you think about "Don't Tread on Me"? That's another good one.
Love this song. Great riff, great solo.
Yeah.
Assholes have stolen that cool flag nowadays.
I was gonna say.
I love it. It's America.
And that's exactly. I think it's like America. Fuck yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Doesn't it sound like he says Soviet? Friend,
it does sound like he says Soviet.
Yes.
Very appropriate in our current times.
I mean, Jeremy's got the background of Metallica there in Moscow when they played to 1.6 million people.
Notwithstanding Bill's ever undying love for Metallica, the most excited I've ever seen him about any media property was when we saw Team America World Police in the theater.
Great movie. But yeah, this one's great. Like that, and even like that. Once again, the solo kicks ass here. Like this song is great, and it literally is like an America fuck yeah song.
Yeah,
like, which I guess if you think at the time where this is like just in the post Cold War era, right?
Yeah.
Like it makes a lot of sense. Like
By the way, you can't see the picture of the church or whatever there in Moscow so well in the background, but it looks like shit. It was not a good time for that country.
No,
that's like the Kremlin, but it looks like it needs to be polished.
Have you guys seen the movie Tetris? Have you seen the movie Tetris?
I played the game.
Dude,
why is there a movie?
Watch the movie. Dude, watch the movie. Stop.
Okay, look,
I gotta get a wipe.
But
watch the movie.
But
all right, I got 3 minutes, guys. Let's go.
So I would say "Don't Tread on Me," amazing track.
It's the album cover.
I think you're right, Billy. Too like all these solos are amazing on this album.
Yeah,
and I
think
wow. Yeah,
it's imprinted in your brain,
and it's because it's composed. Like when I think of "Ride the Lightning" and one of my favorite songs off that album, which is "Trapped Under Ice," which is
Trapped Under Ice.
I love that song.
Great song.
How many times have they ever played that? Even like 3 times?
Never. Did they play when we went to the Big Four? Did they play "Trapped Under Ice"? I can't remember.
Of course not. They had to relearn how to play it when they.
It's better than Escape, though. They hate the song "Escape." That was their radio single.
I love "Trapped Under Ice."
Great song.
Manny,
it's like
all right. Listen, guys. Before this gets crazy, I'm about to bounce out. All right.
Okay.
This be just a cameo on my own show. Okay, you guys.
Wow.
I was about to say, you guys are fucking
Legends.
coming over here trying to take over.
No,
I'm
we
like, I
appreciate
heard
you
there's
giving
a
us. We
podcast coming
appreciate
through.
you giving us the platform, Manny. We
All
appreciate
right, listen. I mean, I love that two be like. There's two people, guys. If you're listening to this show, do you understand what's happening right here? Three best friends. One of them I known since I was 5. The other one second grade.
Three
The other one
best
we met
friends
in
that
high school.
anyone
We
ever
haven't
had.
stopped talking. I was best friend at his wedding. Nostalgic as fuck right now.
And that asshole Jeremy.
No, I was talking
No,
to
you were
you
the second grade person.
Oh,
Second
okay,
grade.
cool.
What the fuck? What's wrong
Keep
with
up,
you?
Jeremy.
Listen,
Sorry.
Keep up, Jeremy.
I'm emotionally broken
All right,
from listening
so
to all this Metallica.
I had to come on just first of all, I want to say hi to you guys. I haven't seen you guys in
hell
so
yeah, bro.
long.
Hey,
I want to say that I have to put in my 2 cents on this. I know you guys are gonna go through all the I'm
We're gonna
getting
go through a few more.
listening to you.
That's what-
Yeah.
Okay? All right,
maybe
it's
run out
not
of steam
my
here.
cup of tea, but it's still nostalgic because of the fact that every time I listen to it, I think about you guys and
Love you,
every
bro.
one of my friends that love them, and I appreciated how much this band made you, how great this band made you guys feel. So to me, it's still great. It's nostalgic. Doesn't pass the test, as in whatever. I'm sure. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
still making music and stuff,
But
but
we do.
yeah, you guys always pass the test for me.
All right, well, now
I love when you guys are on.
Now
I
we'll
love
think of
this
you when we
hang.
listen to it.
Love being on, bro.
I mean, I want to. Go November rain. That's it. Dan, I love the new drops. Love it that you're doing live drops now.
Love it,
I
man.
love you
That's
guys.
Amazing.
Love you guys. Love you, man.
I
Me too,
think
man.
we definitely need to do a Billy.
We're gonna do a
Are
hang.
you down with Eminem? We should do an
Oh, I'm
Eminem.
down.
I mean,
I'll do an Eminem one.
Jeremy,
we should do
were
the,
you an
the one
Eminem
with,
fan?
I mean,
Jeremy was
we
Yeah.
should do the
Yeah.
one with the
second
second
Marshall
album with
Mathers
Kill You on
LP.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Like everybody
I
else in
think
high
we
school,
should
but I
do.
didn't
I
stick
think.
with it.
we should do all of it. We
If
should do an
Jeremy's
Eminem
down,
marathon.
we should do an Insane Clown Posse episode of
Oh,
Shut
yes,
the fuck
I'd
up.
be
Then we
down
got
with
to
that.
I don't remember anything about ICP other than the Juggalos and the Fuck the World. I mean, but is there anything else to know?
ICP, ODB.
Do you remember? Look up in the sky. It's the bird. It's the plane. It's the big Snoop Dogg fucking with the insane. He
Yeah.
even got into that shit, bro. Yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
man.
we definitely
All
have to do an Eminem album just
right, we'll
because.
do one.
Will you? Look how upset Dan gets. He's so upset about it.
Don't want to hear.
Yo,
it. I don't
Eminem
know.
versus
All right.
Vanilla Ice.
Ooh.
Ooh, I don't know.
Let's do
When I
it.
was just
How about we put all of Eminem's songs,
like
like we'll do, and then we're gonna, and then we're gonna.
Look at this guy. He says he doesn't really know. He's singing the song.
I know
all
that
of
album
Eminem's-
backwards and
whatever
forward like
tracks-
everybody else.
Whatever tracks on whatever album we do from Eminem, we'll just keep putting them against Ice Ice Baby and see which one beats Ice Ice Baby.
Well, I don't know. I like the bass line
What
from this
about
Ice Ice Baby. It's
Ninja?
pretty good.
Ninja rap. Ninja
Yeah.
rap.
It was a big album. It's a big song.
I had that cassette tape.
exactly.
Sure.
All right, guys. Again,
All right.
stays nostalgic. Enjoy the rest of your show since you took over my show. And
Thanks for
we'll
letting
see
us
you-
do it.
What hospitality!
We'll see you guys at the next test.
All right, Manny. Peace.
Love you
Sounds
guys.
good, brother. Peace, man.
Later,
Love
man.
you too, man.
Okay.
When people walk into his brewery, they're like, "All right, well, I see you came here and took over my bar."
Oh my God! Well, that was Manny, like photo bombing our entire photo bombing this episode,
Friend of the pod.
podcast bombing. And well, this is what we could do. Any other song we got to "Don't Tread on Me." There's "Through the Never," "Nothing Else Matters," "A Wolf of Man," "The God That Failed," "My Friend of Misery," "Struggle Within." Are there songs that you feel like on the backside of this album that we definitely need to touch on? Which songs? I mean, we
I
already talked
think-
about "Nothing Else Matters."
I think
Kinda
God
like,
That Failed is an interesting one because in this, first of all, I think the great riff. Love this riff. You know, it's heavy. Like I like it, but it's, you know, in the scheme. I feel like in metal, especially thrash metal, and like when you get to death metal, the whole
Yes.
anti-religion thing is a big thing.
Yeah.
I would say this song is like more anti-religion than most Slayer songs because it's lived through.
It's
This is
disillusioned
like-
with religion.
This is about, you know, James's mom being so hardcore Christian Scientist that she would not
That's
take medication
right.
for cancer and fucking died. And this
That's
is
right.
this is like a fuck you God song, that not because like Satan. This is no, like Jeremy, to your point, disillusion. This is
Yeah.
one of the most crazy like anti-religion songs that like subtly out there, you know, and it's deep and kind of depressing when you figure out what it's actually about, like going back to the lyrics that James was putting out at this time, you know.
I mean,
Yeah.
There's not a lot of weak links here when I listen to it all the way through. Obviously, there are the all-time bangers that are just, basically ingrained in your DNA, like Understand Man and Unforgiven and all that. But then it's a really solid back half of the album. I mean, the last track, Struggle Within, is
Great
short
song.
and fast and maybe would seem like kind of a throwaway, but like
Yeah.
there's any one of the tracks on this could have been the lead single from a lesser album.
That song
That's-
grew on me over
yeah.
time. That's not one that I feel like when I first got this album, I like wouldn't really listen to it much. But as I've gotten older and when I've gone back to this album, that's one that stood out for me. Because there's also in the middle of the song, the riff just totally changes for 4 measures. It's like that
Yep.
part, like in the middle, is fucking awesome.
Very
Yeah.
Justicey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
So this is a
yes.
song that just kind of, it starts off with a military feel, and that's why
Yeah.
I think when I first got this album, I was like, skip this song. But it's like when you actually listen to it and let it breathe, great song. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think talked about the lyrics to "Fuck You, Fuck Me," but "My Friend of Misery," that's Pantera's Walk, where you think it just makes you think of, oh yeah, makes me think of that fucking asshole. What's that guy doing? You know what? No, fuck him.
yeah. Also like the intro bass lick on that, and also I like I'm so far removed from musical theory that I'm not getting the time right, but like the chorus where he's like misery and the guitar's like dun 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 dun, dun like it's like an offbeat. Like I just fucking love how that plays off each other there. Like it's not like a straightforward 4/4 thing, it's like it's
syncopated.
Yeah, exactly. I just love how that plays. So, and it's a great song. It's funny because I don't know if you guys listen to the newest Metallica album, but the last song, he talks about misery again.
Oh, really?
Not how it's like his friend, but more how like he needs misery, which is
70,
kind of interesting.
That's 72 seasons.
It's in Amarada, it's like
yellow,
an 11-minute song.
The neon yellow bright burn your eyes out cover was an interesting choice.
Yeah, no, but it's like the lyrics on that one are like misery needs me, but I need her more. But it's funny how he's coming back to that. I think he just got divorced again, so he's probably leaning on that.
Oh my god, that is hilariously horrible.
Yeah.
He was in rehab again too, wasn't he?
He was in rehab again.
The album before that was Hardwired to Self-Destruct, right?
Yeah.
How did you like those two? How would you compare them?
I would say I think the last 2 albums, like obviously we're going beyond Black Album here, but I thought, Load, Reload, I think are good albums for what they are. They're not thrash albums. They're not metal albums. I think they're really hard rock albums. I think if you cut the fat off, you'd have one solid album,
Absolutely.
Saint Anger, piece of shit. I think there's some good riffs on there if they hadn't produced it like dog shit. That song Sweet Amber, which first of all is singing about beer, which is ridiculous, but like the riff.
Ooh, Sweet Amber, how sweet are you?
Yes, but like, I hate that song. I hate that song. I remember
the riff is like cool, but it's just the lyrics. It was basically like that was like a self-healing album. Like I feel as a band they needed to put it out, but I don't want to listen to it. I'm good on that.
Do you remember the video for Saint Anger? They were in like a prison. I think.
Yeah.
They were in San Quentin. Bobo and I actually went.
Pro Tools out the ass on that album, by the way, too. Come on,
yeah, it's horrible.
Bobo and I went and saw some kind of monster documentary in the theater in Port Washington, and it made him so pissed.
Never saw it.
It's really depressing. Makes you like them. Yeah, don't watch it.
It made Mustaine look like shit.
Well, Mustaine needs to, just to say this, not to say, off track. This whole episode's our podcast.
It's all over the place.
There's a track. Where's the track?
Our podcast.
Listen, if you're still here, hit the like button right now and just like us because we want to come to your town and do the gas station beers episode. But anyway, I need Dave Mustaine to shut the fuck up. I just need him to stop. You were in Metallica. They got rid of you. Stop it. You're in,
and you were still super successful. Like,
what the fuck is wrong with you?
You got your own band.
Shut up. You're such
you're probably the most commercially successful out of the big 4 after Metallica. Right?
Exactly.
Like, settle the fuck down, bro.
And not even that. It's just like the more people hate on Kirk and his guitar playing, he's a fucking great guitar player.
I love Kirk.
You can't fucking say he
the wah-wah pedal. I'm like, dude, everyone has it's the same shit as how people shit on Zakk Wylde for pinch harmonics. That's their signature. That's what they do. Randy Rhoads had the same kind of shit. It's like people have the signature. So it's you don't like it, move on.
It'd be like hating on in Pink Floyd, if you like Pink Floyd, hating on David Gilmour for bending a string. That's what he does. He bends the string and holds it forever. That's his signature.
Stupid. It's you can find. Look, if you here's the thing. Like, this band has become so overexposed. You could shit on them for any way you want. So But anyway, I'm sorry
But-
to continue my thought. What I was saying before, just to finish quickly.
Go
Yeah,
for
she's
it.
two
Yeah.
albums away.
So we got Saint Anger. Shit.
Shit.
Death Magnetic felt like I liked Death Magnetic at the time, but
Yeah.
over by the way, 16 years since it came out.
I
That
know.
makes me feel
Holy
old,
shit,
by the way.
dude. What is we're old.
It's it feels forced when you listen to it. Like it was because they had Rick Rubin in there, and Rick Rubin was like, "You need to get back to being thrash." So they were like, "Hey, we're just gonna do it." And the production on that is not great either. It was the loudness era where everyone turned everything. You know, I really feel like the last two albums are kind of like they're like, "Hey, we are what we are now," and it almost feels like if you took like some of the Load era stuff, but mixed in some of the heavier, sometimes thrashy, like not necessarily hard rock. It just feels like a more natural progression to me. I feel like they've become more comfortable as a band. Like you listen to this song Hardwired to Self-Destruct off that song, that is a thrash song. That is a thrash song, you know? But then there's other songs on there that are like, you know, almost sound like Sabbathy, but it's like I feel like they've gotten to the point where they're not trying to like, oh, you know, we went too far the other way, reload. Now let's go back this way. It's just, hey, like we're like 60 years old and we're just gonna fucking do what we want to do. And like I'm okay with that. You know, like there's so many fans now, like everyone has a different opinion. Like trying to pay lip service to anyone and make someone happy is just fucking stupid. And I feel like as a band, they've kind of realized that at this point. Like we're just gonna play, you know, like we're gonna do like what makes us happy, which I can respect that. I'm not always gonna like it. I don't like every song they put out now, but I can respect that. And I feel like it's a lot more genuine than maybe like a Saint Anger or Death Magnetic was. It's more like, hey, we're old, like we like to play like this. But there's like, I don't know if you guys listened to the extended version of Death Magnetic, but they had like a Dio medley cover, which was fucking awesome. Or they covered they covered When a Blind Man Cries by who sings that song? I can't think of it right now, but like that. But it's like they the covers, I agree with you, are amazing. Even the last couple, I'm sorry, I'm rambling now. The last couple of years they've done they do their charity thing, they're All Within My Hands charity thing, where they do acoustic, and they've done like acoustic versions of their own songs. You probably heard the Blackened one, and then acoustic version of other people's songs. So I feel like, you know, as ridiculous as they are, because they are a big business now, they've gotten to a point where like they just do what they want. This makes us happy, we're going to do it, which I can respect.
I think they had a huge identity crisis after the Black Album.
Oh, yeah.
That's
who are we?
Yeah,
I agree. Like you look at the short hair on Load and Reload,
and
then you
that was tragic.
Interviews with James where I didn't know what was going on, and Kirk has like weird tattoos and like belly button piercing. Like, what the fuck is this, bro? Like, you know, it got weird, you know, and like, why am I seeing his pubes in this album cover? This is weird.
All right, it's not on the cover, but it's in the sleeve. Yeah,
but it's cover I agree with you, man. And you think about it, if you're like these guys who were, you know, they grew up, and then this album is kind of like push them into the upper echelon.
Yeah,
it totally makes sense why they have an identity crisis. Who the fuck are we, guys? Like, you know, well, everyone's shitting on them for selling out too. You know,
But
I really think.
I agree, Bobo. It is a terrible place for a tattoo.
Well, the belly button, Oh, you mean where it's made in San Francisco, right there? Yeah.
Where he's got flames coming off of his pubes.
That's a terrible tattoo. Getting this when you're 18 years old. Stupid idea.
Wow, it's faded so much.
Dude, it's terribly faded.
You disappeared.
It's so faded.
I was there when you got it, but not as bad as the one in the middle of your back.
I should have gotten this instead. Like the background, that would have been a much cooler tattoo.
Wow. Well, I would say I love A Wolf and Man. I'm just going to jump right back in there.
That thing.
Sorry, we rambled.
No, it's okay.
Great song.
We're coming towards the end anyway, but that song is a song when I first listened to this album, when I first started listening to Black Album, that I was just like, what is this shit? Like, I didn't like this, but now re-listening to it and stuff, I'm like, this song is like really cool. And it's
I like it. It's got different timing again too. Like I agree with you. It's cool. It's got a great solo once again, like every song on this album.
That's the thing. Those solos are so good. He as much as we want to hate, as much as everyone I think blame Bob Rock, I'm gonna give him a ton of credit for this album. It's just so well 100%. Done.
Production, the solos, because that's the biggest thing on the back half. Like the last couple albums I was talking about, if you listen to Kirk's solos, they're like he's mailing it in. Like he like shows you can tell he's like, all right, I'm good, bro. Thank you. Like, whereas this, like he had someone putting pressure on him. Like, no, it's not good enough. Do it again. Like this doesn't fit with the song. Do it again. And
saying his solo sounds like Lars' drumming.
exactly. But it fits. It was so good here. Well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love a Wolf. Speaking of Wolf and Man, I love where he has the refrain where he's like, "I feel a change," and
Yeah.
then like builds back up from there. Yeah.
It sounds like Megadeth though at some point. Like that part is like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh Jesus,
Hello, me.
I can't, I can't. That's why I never was able to really listen to Megadeth. Every time I hear them, you wanna call France.
That's one of their worst songs. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, nah, no, we're not doing this.
And what else did we miss? Did we talk everything on the back end?
Well, no, Jeremy, what do you think? You got a song on the back end that like you need to touch on?
We hit him, man. We hit them all.
We hit them all.
Think
Yeah,
so.
I think we did.
All right.
Manny brought up Nothing Else Matters, so we already hit that. Oh, we didn't. You know, we didn't hit Through the Never.
Through the Never.
Oh,
Good song.
Through the
Good one.
Never.
That's probably
let's talk
the
about that one.
thrashiest of them all.
Let's give 7 seconds to Through the Never.
I love the middle where it goes bam. Yes. Yeah, love it.
So good.
Good,
But
good
yeah,
song.
let's real quick. I mean, I think Through the Never probably one of the top songs on the album for me. It's thrash.
Agreed.
It's fucking
Break down
metal.
the middle.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Where it's
This is
bound
this
to
is
go
the-
down, down. Yeah, that part in the middle, great.
this
Good
is the
song.
most metal song in the whole
I would
album
agree with
for
you.
me.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
this. If this was like, if the whole album sounded like this after Justice, like people be like, all right, cool.
Cool.
But, no.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Whew,
All right,
wow.
I think we've hit on every song now. Yeah, we
We've
have.
hit on every
This
song.
This is a
We've
long
had-
episode, but
We've
there's a
had
lot
the
of shit
Manny
to talk
ambush and
The Man Bush.
the Man
about.
Bush.
The Man Bush.
All right, let's not say that, but we're gonna leave it there. So the Black Album, we're gonna put it to the test. Does it stand the test of time and is still good? Is it just nostalgic, meaning it fails the nostalgia test? And look, everyone that's listening, just because it fails and it's just nostalgic does not mean it's bad. It just means that it's just nostalgic. It means you can still enjoy it for nostalgia reasons. And though the third one is terrible and it needs to be erased from, and is Saint Anger bad? Let's just put it out there. It would be
Yeah,
Saint Anger. So, Jeremy, what do you think? Black Album.
I mean, I still not sure I accept the whole premise of your test, but it's good. Keep
Jesus,
it.
Jeremy.
So you say you're still listening to this no matter, not just for you because you love it.
Yeah, I'd listen to it because it's good, man.
Okay. All right.
It holds
So
up.
For Jeremy, it passes the nostalgia test. All right. Even though he doesn't believe in our parameters, even though we put so much thought into the parameters of this podcast to figure it out. But for Jeremy, it passes. Billy.
I'm going to say it definitely passes. You know, this is one where I don't listen to it a lot, but when I break it out, I jive on it. And it's not just from a nostalgia perspective. It's a fucking good album. Like everything we talk about here, well produced, great songs, great solos, great singing from James, typical shitty drumming from Lars. But, you know, I think it's still, to me, I don't like it because it brings me back. Like sometimes it will. But it's just a fucking great album. Like to me, it 100% passes. This is not just nostalgic.
Let's put it this way: Bubba comes to my house and we're cracking our first beer. There's a non-zero chance we're throwing this on in the background.
This was a hard one for me after listening to it, and I was just like, I was like going back and forth. I'm like, I don't know, and but. Listening to it again. And I think also, what helped me figure out my choice, I think it was really watching the documentary. There was something about watching that really long 2-part documentary, but that was
the second part is very draining.
Oh my God, I know. But that after watching it, I was just like, you know what? This album does pass the nostalgia test. The Black Album has stood the test of time 100%. It is not just nostalgic. It's still good. It is a great album. It is well produced. The songs are well written. And I think, we all really, I think, got to the point that like the solos are great. Like the solos in this album are absolutely outstanding.
Fucking top notch, bro. 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
easily.
Absolutely. So the Black Album passes with flying colors. Billy, Jeremy,
Black colors.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us, Dan.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Good conversation, bro. As always, appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it was so much fun. So glad to have you. We'll have to have
bonus
you
Manny
for the Pantera episode once we do a Pantera one.
Again, really deep cut.
But yeah, everyone, let us know what you think about the Black Album. Follow us on all social media at the Nostalgia Test, on X if we're still there at Nostalgia Test. We're trying Discord. I don't understand it. And then follow the YouTube channel because this is going up on the YouTube channel. We have all our episodes, and I'm putting old episodes up a little bit at a time. So right now, the Mrs. Doubtfire episode that Jeremy was on is up on
nice.
YouTube.
I'll have to watch that. I haven't
that
seen that yet.
episode. Oh,
No
it's
doubt,
hilarious.
it's fire.
It is 100% hilarious, and you could watch us trash the 2024 Roadhouse. Me and Billy and Manny get into that one.
Also good.
And there's a bunch of sequels coming out, so get ready, Billy.
I am.
Roadhouses. The revenge.
So everyone, thank you
Roadhouse.
so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next test. Peace.
Peace, everyone.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe to the Nostalgia Test podcast to know when new episodes drop. Don't forget to leave us 5 stars and a positive review so more people can find the podcast. Share your thoughts and memories on today's topic on our Twitter at Nostalgia Test and on Instagram at The Nostalgia Test. Tune in next time because you never know what pop culture will pop up on The Nostalgia Test.